Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack exactly why Dropwizard has become an absolute premier framework for Java microservices. Look, if you're out there architecting modern distributed systems, you already know the drill. Choosing the right foundation, it can literally make or break your team's velocity. So let's take a look at a tool designed specifically to tip the scales heavily in your favor.
Let's be honest for a second here. Think back to the last time you spun up a brand new microservice. How much time did you actually spend writing the business logic? The stuff that actually delivers value, versus wrestling with boilerplate code, wiring up dependencies, and endlessly configuring your application server. Yeah, for a lot of us, that setup overhead is just a massive frustrating time sink. It totally drains momentum, especially in agile environments where rapid iteration is practically everything. And honestly, that specific developer frustration is exactly the problem we're solving today. Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll be covering Meet Your New Framework under the Dropwizard hood, the developer advantages, real-world use cases, and finally, 5 steps to start. Let's dive right in. Section 1. Meet Your New Framework. Curing the boilerplate headache. So there's just a massive contrast between building your own intricate configuration from scratch and adopting a framework that actively respects your time. Dropwizard operates on this one core philosophy, and it's a game changer: convention over configuration. So instead of forcing you to make, 100 trivial decisions just to wire an application together, it goes ahead and makes the optimal choices for you, completely stripping away that excessive boilerplate. In an agile environment, this means you're actually achieving rapid iteration, rather than getting bogged down in configuration intricacies.
Moving on to Section 2, under the Dropwizard hood, a curated VIP selection. Now, Dropwizard isn't some bloated monolith. It's actually a perfectly curated stack of the absolute best Java libraries, all working together in seamless harmony. It doesn't try to reinvent the wheel, right? Instead, it pulls together this kind of VIP selection optimized specifically for RESTful services. You've got Jersey handling your APIs seamlessly, Jackson stepping in as the absolute gold standard for high-performance JSON processing, and Jetty serving as your embedded servlet container. When you combine these three components, they create a robust, modular foundation that aligns perfectly with microservice architecture principles. And because of this incredibly optimized curation, Dropwizard really isn't just about writing code quickly, it's about running that code safely. From the very outset, it's designed to be production-ready. You get application metrics to monitor traffic, health checks that instantly flag failing services, and really robust built-in logging. Plus, it integrates perfectly with the modern Java ecosystem. That means you can leverage all those great modern Java features while keeping compatibility with your established enterprise systems. Basically, you are completely ready for production monitoring from day one. Section 3, the developer advantages. Reclaiming your productivity. Okay, a massive game changer here is the fat jar. This right here is the absolute key to simplified deployment. See, Dropwizard packages your entire application, the embedded Jetty server, and every single dependency into one single executable jar file. Think about why that matters for a second. You only ever deploy a single artifact. It completely eliminates those terrible cross-environment deployment headaches, where code works locally but mysteriously breaks in staging because of some missing library. With this, consistency across your environments is practically guaranteed. And the advantages just stack up rapidly from there. Because you're spending way less time on setup, your productivity absolutely skyrockets. And because it utilizes that embedded Jetty server we mentioned, you gain incredible performance and scalability to handle high-traffic environments super efficiently. On top of that, comprehensive monitoring lets you track request counts and error rates so you can catch bottlenecks early, way before they ever impact your users. And finally, you don't have to bolt on security as some sort of afterthought. It gives you built-in support for SSL, TLS, and authentication right out of the box. Which brings us to Section 4, real-world use cases, where Dropwizard actually shines. Dropwizard is hands down the right tool for several really high-stakes jobs. For instance, if you're building an API gateway acting as an intermediary between clients and services, its lightweight nature makes it absolutely ideal for fast routing and aggregation. Or for standalone microservices, its modular design is perfectly optimized for distinct RESTful functions. And for startups trying to build out prototypes or MVPs, it is unmatched. That rapid setup speed means your team can actually get out there, test ideas, and gather real user feedback instead of fighting with your infrastructure. Let's hit our final section, Section 5. 5 steps to start, going from zero to deployed. So here is your fast-track path from a blank screen to a running, production-ready REST resource in literally just 5 steps. First, create a new project and simply add Dropwizard as a dependency using Maven or Gradle. Second, define your application class by extending io.dropwizard.application. This is going to be your entry point. Third, set up your configuration class to hold your specific application parameters. Fourth, create your resources. And because Dropwizard uses Jersey, you just use standard, intuitive Jersey annotations to define how you handle incoming requests and produce your responses. And finally, step 5. Package it as a fat jar and run it using a simple Java command. Guys, it is truly that straightforward. To wrap up our explainer today, I really want to bring it all back to this fundamental mission statement. Dropwizard isn't trying to be everything to everyone, and that's its superpower. It is specifically, ruthlessly designed to simplify RESTful web services. By integrating a set of incredibly reliable tools like Jersey, Jackson, and Jetty, it completely strips away the noise. It gives you performance, security, and monitoring by default. It exists entirely so you can focus on writing the great software your users actually care about.
So I want to leave you with this thought. If you could reclaim the hours, the days, or even the weeks your team currently spends on framework configuration, writing boilerplate, and troubleshooting deployments, what would you actually do with that time? What will you build when you stop configuring and finally start coding? I highly encourage you to go dive into Dropwizard's official documentation and their GitHub repository for your next big project. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy coding.